Hello.
Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? All good? Good. Okay, well, we've heard a lot today already about the kind of creator economy and the opportunities and, what the future looks like. But I think in our session, we really wanted to think about, kind of the real creators and how they are kind of being affected. So I'm really pleased to have this great session with these guys. First off, let's get a little bit of a taste of what they do. Cue videos.
Oh. Was that your card? All of that's used by AI. It's not real. It's all camera tricks. That's not true.
And let's have a little look at Zara, Beth as well, please.
I got left on yet another train as a wheelchair user. I get trains pretty much weekly because of what I do as my job, but as I'm getting more of them, I'm figuring out that it doesn't always go smoothly. There are definitely more things in place to make it accessible, like passenger assistance, but things still often go wrong, and I think that's just part of being a wheelchair user. You have to be ready and prepared for everything to go wrong. This is when I realised I was put on an empty train and had been sat there for half an hour.
I'm currently stuck on another train. It's not leaving. I think I'm on the wrong train.
I tried to get the attention of people by sticking my hand out the train, but it's kind of risky, and there was no one there. At this point, I had no idea what was happening or whether passenger assistance had even put me on the right train.
What the fuck do I do? My train was due to leave 10 minutes ago and I'm on an empty train. I don't think this is my train. I think they've put me on the wrong one. And there's no one here.
Eventually, I got a guard's attention, and they came and told me what was going on. I was on the right train, but it was just delayed by an hour, and I hadn't been told anything. I was just left on an empty train. There's definitely improvements to be made for the communication on things like this, but I'm grateful that I eventually got where I needed to go.
So that's a little taste of what they both do, both kind of very different. Can you just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about yourselves?
I'm Zara, Beth. I'm a content creator, author, and disability advocate. I make content about accessibility and just educating on my disabilities and teaching people that, there are so many barriers that we have to face, but if we make society more accessible and, we include things and we make things based on people's needs, you can actually do so many things. So I'm just kind of proving that through travel and things like that.
Well, hello. I'm Joel. I was a magician, started working doing that when I was 11 in cabaret clubs and stuff, which definitely wasn't legal. But then I started doing TV magic, so I had a series on BBC One when I was 19, then did some stuff with Sky, getting picked up eventually as a Blue Peter presenter, and I sell them for 20 quid, so speak to me after the thing, it'll all be great. And then, I suppose, in the middle of that during COVID, when live shows and doing magic wouldn't work touring, I focused on TikTok and grew that up to, I think it's across the platforms 18 million, it's 18 million something followers just doing magic trick videos like that, usually either by myself, which was lonely, or with my younger brother as a sort of accomplice, so good times.
Brilliant. So, you both kind of get millions of views, but what are the harder things behind kind of making videos that some people might not see behind all the glitz and glam?
Probably keeping a work-life balance when you are your own boss, because there's nothing to tell you clock out at 5, clock out at this time. You're just doing it yourself. And I mainly work from my bedroom, so it's all in one room. And if you can work from your bed, it's really hard to not work when you've got nothing to do. And also dealing with things like hate comments, because you can't please the whole internet.
Literally the exact same issue. I was sat editing in bed till 11:30 last night, so it does happen. But I think a similar sort of thing for me, the big challenge is coming up with the ideas, and that is something actually referencing back to what we were talking about earlier that AI really does help with. Yeah. But for me, it was coming up with the next video, and you're on this hamster wheel of, oh my goodness, I have to keep pushing something out there, especially when the videos start to do well, it actually gets worse. The pressure's on there and you know people are watching. So for me, it was always coming up with the ideas and trying to stand out. That was the hardest part of the job.
Yeah, that's tough. And that kind of like life-work balance, how do you deal with that?
It's a difficult one. I think just trying to like schedule in, like I literally schedule in like block hours of like, you're gonna rest, you're gonna do something nice, like going out and doing stuff in the real world that isn't on a screen, because it can be so easy to get sucked into like the stats and, you know, the whole business side of it, that you forget to just like live and that you're a person on the other end of it. So yeah, it's a tricky balance, but you get there in the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's scheduling for sure. It's that whole thing. Nobody's making you do anything, so you have to really be quite ruthless with yourself. So Google Calendar is my best friend, and it pings telling me stop working, go to the gym, see, go. I have it in the schedule to see girlfriend. So, but if I don't, it won't happen, my break, because you'll just want to do the next thing, because I think with anything creative, it's never finished. So you could finish working for the day, but it's like, I could do the next one, and then you just burn yourself out. So I think that's something to be really mindful of. I think trying to keep up some sort of social life and make commitments well in advance is also a really good thing for the work-life balance as well. If your friend's expecting you to be at Nando's for 2, you're probably going to make it happen. And treating that as just as important as the work.
Yeah, I'm sure that pleases your girlfriend as well, that she's in your Google Calendar. So we've heard as well before a lot about kind of like remaining authentic. And obviously you have to kind of be relatable and things like that. But, you know, what do you share, you know, what do you decide to share publicly, but also keep to yourselves?
It is really difficult because, I mean, I share a lot of really personal things. Like I share a lot of the things I've gone through health-wise, mental health, like I'm neurodivergent, so I share loads of experiences like that. But you have to try and find a balance between sharing stuff that you know people are going to relate to and sharing stuff that you know is going to help people and make an impact in my case, but also keeping stuff that feels like you're giving a part of yourself away, because you want to keep a bit of a barrier so that like you're going to get hate comments, you have to prepare yourself for that. So if you're not prepared to hear it, probably don't share it yet. And I mean, especially things like relationships, friendships, just keeping a bit of it private to yourself so that you've got something that you just know is you and you've got no outward influence. It helps make it feel less vulnerable, but being vulnerable does help. So yeah, it's a fine balance.
Yeah, I think it's tricky. I had a struggle with it a couple of years ago because especially during lockdown, I was able to post all day long and millions of people were seeing this stuff, but I never saw those people face to face. So it came as a real shock then whenever I met these people in real life, out and about, and there's that parasocial thing where people come up and they think that they really, really know you. And I'm sort of like, you don't know me at all, but they know what you see. So I'm always very mindful now as to what I put out, because people do remember stuff and they get a really good sense of what you might be like. I sort of have a little heuristic in my head, which is if it's not something that somebody I would see once every couple of months for coffee wouldn't know about me, don't put it out, because but it's tricky because it is also that line of wanting to be authentic at the same time as well. I may be a little bit different in that my content is very magic focused, so long as I'm putting that out, I'm kind of safe. But I have a lot of friends who do struggle because they're very much, it's just their personality that is so amazing. That's what makes it grow. So it's always a weird sort of...
Yeah, when you're posting about your life, it's like, especially because I post my experiences and kind of the things I'm doing day to day and, you know, how I'm feeling about it. And so when you're posting that, it's like, do I say this? Can I say this? And especially when you're working like with companies and stuff and it becomes a brand, it's like, how do you differentiate you as a person and you as a creator, like you as a business? Yeah,
I think it's scary as well because I'm quite careful as to what I put out, but even now I've seen, because people have shown me there's stuff out with my face, inappropriate pictures of me that aren't even me, and me saying things that aren't even me because AI lets that happen now. And it's thinking, right, okay, I can be as careful as possible now with what I put out, but what's stopping somebody else? So that's a new fear unlocked for you all.
Yeah, definitely.
And have you put stuff out that you've then gone, oh, I wish I hadn't done that?
I don't think I've regretted anything I've put out, but there's definitely stuff that I will cringe at if someone shows me a video of myself and makes me watch it. But I think it's just watching things back can be difficult because you change over time. Like I started posting content when I was a teenager, like when I was 15. And so now that I'm like an adult, looking back at that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a baby. And so, yeah, just being mindful that it's going to be on the internet forever. Like you can take videos down, but people record them, they're always going to have an internet presence. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. There's definitely stuff, if it popped up now, that I posted years ago that I would cringe as well. But I think the other way of thinking about that is, if that wasn't the case, then you probably haven't changed very much, and you're probably not posting enough either.
Yeah.
I really struggle to watch stuff back that I've done anyway. I put it off as long as possible because I don't think it's ever comfortable, especially when it's not just short form stuff, because I make a lot of short form, but if it's long form, that's even worse. So there's something to be said for that. I mean, I don't know if other people are going back and watching that stuff as much as you think, but maybe you just sort of have to accept that they would.
Sometimes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Brave.
Yeah, when they're good memories, it's like, it's a bit different when it's, like, I would never go and watch like one of my information videos back, because, you know, it's cringy watching yourself. But yeah, when it's like sharing memories and stuff, like when you're being vulnerable and it's friends and, you know, good memories, it's nice to have it documented. That's one of my favorite things about like my job, is that everything, like I've done all the trips I've been on, I've got memories of it all. It's almost scrapbooked like in a video. It's really cool.
It's really sweet, except I had a blonde man bun for many years, and I can't look back at that. It's not okay.
And the big quiff as well. You had that for
I
a
had
bit.
a massive quiff, yeah. I was masking a hairline, got a transplant done. It was worth every penny, so yeah.
And we touched a little bit about comments. Do you read your comments? And how do you deal with that? Like you say, they are, you know, you get positive and you get negative.
Yeah, there's always negative comments, like especially if something goes viral, which a lot of my videos did. One of my videos got nearly 100 million views just on that video, just on one platform. And so like the backlash you get from that is crazy, because it's going out to audiences that don't understand you. Like a lot of my audiences are like disabled people, neurodivergent people, who are used to, you know, hearing all the terms and the things I speak about, they know. But when that goes out to the general public, especially TikTok, you know, it's not good. But I have people moderating comments, like you can set filters, I do everything you can, but sometimes it's best to just save yourself and not look at them. You just got to stay strong in like who you are, and like, you know, ask for feedback from friends and things instead of random people on the internet. Yeah, you just have to build a bit of a defense mechanism, because otherwise, yeah, it can get to you.
I totally agree with that. It's funny the things that will annoy you as well, because I could have someone write something ruthless about the way I look or sound, and it doesn't bother me so much. I think so many years of doing magic out in really, really scummy venues just taught me to not care about that. But the one that gets me is people guessing how the tricks are done. That'll like trigger me so much, because you hear the most stupid guesses, and then some people do get it right. I delete those comments, but the people, but it's people. The worst one is when people will comment something and they'll say, "Oh, magnets." I'm like, "Do you know how magnets work? You can't do that." But then I'm like, well, it has 10,000 likes, so I suppose it's better people think it's that than, you know, the invisible string that is the obvious guess. So you can tell I get very triggered by this, so I try not to look too much. My answer would be, I don't really look anymore. I think I used to in the beginning. The only time I will is initially when a video goes live. I'll go in and pop a few of my own comments. But like what you said, I find it's better to ask people who maybe I would trust, who are also in the space, for their feedback, rather than just random strangers. Because there might be some nuggets in there, but like the downside is just not worth sitting scrolling through all day. And again, it never ends. So you have to protect yourself.
There's too many to scroll through that you get stuck in it, and then you're like, I could do this better, I could do this better. You start overanalyzing yourself, because you're the person who decides whether you're doing it good enough. So yeah, that's difficult. Yeah,
and if you have a sort of negativity bias in your head, which all of us do, it's that classic thing. If you'll see 99 that are just wonderful, but it's the one that will get you.
Yeah, you'll remember that.
Yeah, and you could go through and change your mindset and stuff. It's easier to just not look sometimes.
Yeah.
Save yourself the hassle.
And, you know, thinking about all the different platforms that are available, and obviously YouTube's here today, so sorry YouTube, but what would be your favourite? You know, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube?
Definitely YouTube.
Yes.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Actually, YouTube. Yeah, I mean, like, I started on TikTok initially, and so it's like, it's a lot more fast-paced, and it's a lot easier to, you know, go viral on a random video, so you can get the reach, but it's not always reaching the audiences you want, which is something I found. Whereas things like YouTube and even Instagram, which is kind of a bit more touching base daily, like, I have a lot more of like a structured community that comes back every video. You know, they're watching long form content. And so I feel like that's where you build the community and the connections with people. And yeah, it's nice to have people that come back every video so it does well, and not having to worry like whether it's going to sit right with the audience. But yeah, it's difficult because every single platform has a different audience, so you have to make different content and appeal to different people. But yeah, YouTube and Instagram are my favorites.
Yeah. It's YouTube for me in that that's really the only one I use. So my biggest is TikTok, but I don't go near it because if I start, I won't stop and it'll just be an endless scroll. I don't have the self-control. So really the only thing I actually consume is YouTube, and usually long form as well. I enjoy just sticking that on in the background while I'm doing chores. But in terms of the audience, you're so right. Yeah. And actually I've noticed that although my audience is bigger on TikTok, I'll get more people in real life notice me from YouTube, because I think, like you say, it's the audience you're actually going afterwards, and they're more likely to come up and say hello, and I think that tells you quite a lot. So yeah, for me it's YouTube, guys. No, but for real. Yeah.
My claim to fame is that, I also love YouTube, my claim to fame is that I convinced Louis Theroux to do a chicken shop date.
Wow!
Yay!
That's cool. How'd you do that?
Back in the Jiggle Jiggle, yeah, he didn't even know who Amelia was, chicken shop date, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Influenced.
Can you be my agent?
Well, let's talk afterwards, yeah. So in terms of like, you know, thinking about traditional media, thinking about kind of, you know, AI content, everything is, you know, everyone's kind of like wants a bit of social media now. I was like waving the flag for social media for years, but now it really feels like those traditional companies are kind of getting it and kind of jumping on board. So how do you deal with that? Everything is getting really busy. Like, how do you kind of stay on top of that, getting people to notice you, know that you're there, especially with AI content? That's a really tricky one.
It's difficult when there's so much content that goes out that can be kind of a similar format and things. So I think having your own like format of editing and like your own voice is really important. Like, I can make content, like if I get in a scroll and I look at other people's content, I'm like, oh, I should be doing that, that's doing well, and you overanalyze looking at other people. But if I make content like them, my audience isn't there for that. They're there for what I do naturally. And so just coming up with ideas and talking as if it's just like you, like what you want to say from your heart, just being like honest. And the videos where I do that and I don't fully script it and I just like live and record things, they tend to do the best. It's when you start overthinking it and you're worrying about all the people overpowering you and trying to kind of outdo them that my content starts to not land as well, because that's not why people like subscribed in the first place. So I think not getting in your head about that can really help, but easier said than done.
I think you're so right. For me, I'm always sort of mindful of what are the, even if it's just one or two things that would make me different in my niche to somebody else, and really, really squeeze into that. And you can be quite intentional about it. And it means you don't have to fake it either, because you're just more of yourself a little bit. Yeah. So for me, Northern Irish, there aren't really any other Northern Irish magicians. So whenever I'm on camera, hamming that up, for sure. It's little things like that that they're sort of USPs. So I think it's leaning into those. And then in terms of standing out, really there's only so much that's within your control, because you can't do anything about the influx of other stuff that's being created. So it's really just going, right, the only thing I can do is just try and make the best stuff I can as often as I can. And if you sort of try and block everything out, I think as a creator, if you're small and you have a small team, that's really all you can do. You could really freak yourself out if you thought about the competition. But you know, you could scare yourself out of just doing the one important thing, which is making something.
Yeah.
And that's why you get it into the first place.
It's better to get something out than to worry so much trying to perfect something that you don't even post because you're so stressed about it. Like when you burn out, I've definitely gotten into that cycle where you're like, I don't want to post, it's not going to do well, I can't do it right. And it's like, just post, just do what you want to do. And like that's usually when it does the best, is just when you're doing what comes naturally.
And what about like the ethics of it all? Like, has your content been like copied?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fake accounts. People make Tinder profiles pretending to be me. I have.
Sorry about that.
Thinking about your boyfriend on stage. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, people have literally said like, I've got a boyfriend now, but I'm looking for someone on the side. And I'm like, that is not me. But yeah, people making like fake content, people trying to scam people in DMs, like there's a lot of Facebook accounts made that are pretending to be me. But it's so hard to regulate it. Like, you can report it, but it doesn't always get taken down. So yeah, making people aware of that.
Yeah, that's another one of those things I just was like, I'm not going to look anymore because it'll stress me out too much. Because
Yes.
I found once there was a TikTok page and someone had actually sent it to me being like, oh, I liked your recent video. And it had 500,000 followers on TikTok, but it wasn't me. It was just a direct replica of my page. But they would have been making decent money off it as well, just off the ad revenue. And then I was like, well, I don't really know what to do to get this taken down. Tried and it didn't work. So I sort of gave up on it. But the more irritating one, which you sort of have to just wrap your head around and think about it differently, is that when people, when they not necessarily steal your content and repost it, but when they actually just copy the ideas, because as I say, the hardest bit of the job for me was coming up with the stuff in the first place. And there was a while where other magicians were just verbatim, exact same sound effects. There were a couple people find someone to sort of act as the way my brother did in my videos, with like the same react. And it's like, goodness me, the worst part is that sometimes their videos would perform better than my original one did as well. Well, because they have the advantage of seeing which bits worked and which bits didn't, because they can watch retention graphs and stuff. So it's one of those things that you maybe just have to accept as well. There's nothing really you can do about that.
And take it as a compliment.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is that whenever I got the Blue Peter job and I started doing TV instead, the people that were copying had to stop posting too, because I wasn't posting stuff to copy. So you're always a couple steps ahead, and I think that's the only way you can cope with it. But I suppose the only thing you can really do is not do it yourself, so that you don't add to the problem necessarily. But yeah, it is tricky, and with AI, there is that worry, like, oh, what if the next big magician for me is just not real? But listen, who am I to talk about that? I'm just guessing. I think all of us are to an extent whenever we guess as to what that's going to be, and you could freak yourself out. But,
and I think that's it, like the landscape moves so quickly, and like, you know, AI is, you know, kind of coming at us at an incredible force. What would you hope, like in the next 5 years, like what would you hope for on social media, that kind of creator economy?
I think more like long form content where people are just like not as edited and not as highly polished, like just real people talking about stuff, documenting stuff. Like I love watching old videos from like, you know, 2016 YouTube era where people are just sharing what they're doing and they're not, you know, trying to make it this perfected thing that can feel quite scripted sometimes. Like more of the real stuff would be nice. And that as well, like in short form content, like just sharing like stories and stuff that you learn something out of it, you get something from it. That's my favorite type of content. I'd like to see more about that.
Yeah, I think for me, my big hope with social in general moving forward isn't even necessarily like the specific type of content, because I imagine it probably will change, and like you, I do hope long form stuff sticks. But for me, the reason I got on social was to then turn that into this, which was being able to go do a magic show live or something like this. And I hope that it doesn't get to a point where we're all just so glued and so stuck and the dopamine's rushing so much that we stop doing stuff like this. Because I think that's why people get into it in the first place, is for real life human connections and meeting the people they know online. And that's really why I hope doesn't go away. And maybe, who knows, like, listen, if we're able to use the tools with AI to get faster and put out more, it might build better relationships if we use it in that way to allow more of this stuff to happen.
But human connection is always going to be important, isn't it? And if someone was starting up today, a content creator wanted to start up today, you know, what advice would you give them?
Do it because you love it and not because you want a job. Because if you start thinking, I want to do this as a full-time career, you know, it's going to make me money, that's going to be your focus and you're going to burn out. Because like I didn't make any money for the first 3 years at all. And like if I was doing that as a job, I would have given up way earlier. Just do it because you love it, because that's the only way that you're going to enjoy what you're doing and it's going to perform well.
Literally the exact same piece of advice. I just sort of second that as well. And I would say the other way of thinking about it is, if you do go into it for that reason of wanting a job and wanting to make money, you'll probably in the end just get beaten by somebody who would do it for fun anyway, because you'll find somebody like you or me or another creator that even if they weren't getting paid, they'd be sitting doing the video editing and they'll beat you. So
you've got to love it. I mean, if you love it, you're going to be the most authentic and you're going to do the best job that you can, because if you hate doing it, and niche in. Like, find your niche and find something that you really enjoy talking about and you can give a lot of information on, because then you're not going to run out of content ideas. Yeah.
Your answer's better than what I'd say, so let's go with that.
We've come to the end of our session now, but the last question, I guess, from me is who's in control? Is it you or the algorithm?
Me.
YouTube.
Yes.
No, me, of course, me. That's my cope mindset.
Thank you so much for chatting today. Really appreciate it. Give us a round of applause.